You've trained for months, you're crushing it on race day, and then, bam! It feels like you've hit an invisible barrier and your body just won't go. Does that sound familiar? That is the wall. And today, we're going to talk about how to conquer it. Hey everyone, welcome to another video. If you're new here, I'm David, and I am on a mission for my third attempt to crack sub 3 hours in the marathon. Today, we're diving into one of the most infamous obstacles runners face, the wall. But first, you know what doesn't have a wall? The like and subscribe button. They are 100% free, and they help the channel out tremendously. Right. Am I supposed to look in the camera? I don't know. So, what exactly is the wall? For runners, it's that point in a race, in a marathon, usually it's around mile 20, where your body says, nope, not today. And your legs feel like lead, your energy plummets, maybe you get nauseous, and mentally, you're hanging on by a thread. But here's the thing, the wall isn't just for running. It's actually any moment in life where you hit a physical or mental breaking point. And while we can't always avoid the wall, we can, I believe, push it further away or weaken it to the point where we can break through it. There are two main reasons, I believe, as to why runners hit the wall. One is being unprepared, and two is being underfueled. So let's break those down. First, being unprepared. It sounds obvious, because it is. But this happens when your training hasn't adequately prepared you for the distance or the pace that you're trying to run for that distance. It's like trying to drive a cross-country road trip with a car that hasn't been serviced in years. You might get partway there, but eventually you're going to run into trouble. And with marathoning, proper training, I believe, requires 3 key training runs. You have aerobic runs, specific endurance runs, and anaerobic runs. And so for the marathon, this typically breaks out into long runs with marathon pace work every now and then, speed work like tempo or intervals, and then of course strength conditioning and proper rest. Without proper training, your body simply won't have the endurance to last or the strength to run at that speed and finish strong. And we'll go over all those components and things that I said in more depth as the series continues. But for now, to summarize, good preparation starts with slow, steady runs to build a strong endurance base. And as your training progresses, incorporating different types of long runs like progression runs, marathon-paced segments, and doing these things that really mimic race day conditions and teach your body to handle the pace, which is a big mistake I've made in the past, especially around the long run. I took long runs as long, easy recovery runs rather than pushing the pace a little bit. And combining this with being underfueled, which I'll get to in a second, I couldn't keep up with my marathon-paced workouts either. This block that I'm in now, my plan is to take each of my long runs at 10 to 20% slower than my marathon pace, which is definitely much faster than a recovery run. The reality is, a long run is a very important key workout, especially for the marathon, and it should be, I think, difficult. It might even be harder than your other quality sessions. And that's a good thing for the marathon. That's at least my mentality for this training block. And the reality is, every training session, every training block is an experiment. Experiments are designed, they're supposed to fail sometimes. And then you learn and you adapt the hypothesis and you try again. And so that's what I'm doing in this block. So then there's being underfueled. Your body runs on something called glycogen, which is essentially stored carbohydrates. And if your tank isn't full, or worse, if you're trying to run on empty, you're guaranteed to hit the wall. It's just as important to do this in practice and in training as it is on race day as well. And eating the wrong foods or not eating enough is like putting the wrong kind of gas in your car or not even filling up the tank. Your body just won't perform at its best. And this is what happened to me in my last marathon. I did the entire training block in a calorie deficit. I didn't properly carb load before the race, and so my body didn't have any fuel. And the cool thing about the marathon distance, I think, the reason I love it, is that our body can physiologically hold just enough calories to race the distance. It's like right at the limit. But if you don't eat enough, it's like not filling up a race car with gas. It does not matter how strong the engine is. When it runs out of fuel, it won't finish the race. Now, when it comes to fueling, the most cliche and yet still the most important thing to do is to test different foods out. And don't test them out on race day. Test them during training. And so for me, I've found that breads and pasta and oatmeal, classic carbs, actually don't sit well in my stomach. But fruit and honey, rice, cornmeal do great. So test what works for you, not what worked for someone else. What gives you energy? What foods upset your stomach that you should avoid? And if you do this, I believe this is actually a huge difference in optimizing your fuel. It's kind of the difference of putting unleaded gas versus premium. They'll both work, but one will be more efficient and more powerful, and your body will thank you. Now, in terms of numbers, for me right now, I'm targeting 3 grams of carbs per pound of body weight. For those doing the math, it's a lot. It's a lot of carbs. It's a lot of food. And honestly, I don't even hit this every day. It's very difficult. But it goes back to the fact that if you're training for a marathon, you don't want to be trying to lose weight. You probably will lose weight, but if you eat in a deficit, you just won't have the proper fuel for recovery first, or especially for your harder sessions. In your harder sessions, you need to build the adaptations. And in recovery, you need food to be able to actually absorb those adaptations. So you need food. You need it. Here's the thing. Running isn't just about miles. I think running is one of the greatest metaphors for life. And yes, I'm very biased. But honestly, being prepared and fueled applies to everything we do. That's why in Boy Scouts, we always said, always be prepared. When challenges arise, because we all know they will, preparation and the right mindset can make all the difference. Just like in running, we can't avoid hard times, but we can face them strong and ready. And the more time we spend in comfort, the less likely you'll be able to make it. But when you push yourself out of your comfort zone, you'll be able to tackle the challenges that life inevitably sends your way. My goal for the next marathon is to finish strong, not stumble across the line. And I'm taking these lessons, being prepared and fueling properly, with me. And I hope that you do too. So again, whether you're running a marathon, you're chasing a dream, or you're just living life, face your challenges head on, prepared and fueled up, and let's cross the finish line strong. Thanks for watching. If this helped you, drop a comment with your favorite way to tackle the wall. And until next time, run with joy.